Hi there, and welcome to The Daily Gardener, an almanac of garden history, literature, and small botanical joys. I'm Jennifer Eveling, and today is February 16th. February is a month that quietly rewards persistence. Nothing happens all at once. Progress comes from staying, from watching, from continuing, even when the garden looks unchanged. Today's stories live right there with people who kept going long enough for something living to answer back. Here's today's garden history. It was on this day in 1727 that Nikolaus Joseph von Jacquin was born. And if you've ever wandered through a botanic garden and felt that quiet astonishment, how did all this get here? Nikolaus is part of the answer. In the 1750s, Schönbrunn, the imperial palace and garden complex in Vienna, was expanding its great glass rooms, hothouses, meant to hold the world. But a hothouse is only useful if you have plants to put inside it. So Nikolaus was sent out, not as a tourist, but as a working naturalist and collector charged with filling those benches. 5 years, tropical heat, salt air, and a garden waiting back in Vienna with glass rooms ready and empty. When he returned, Nikolaus didn't come back with dried specimens alone. He returned with living material, cuttings, roots, and seeds, small botanical promises packed carefully enough to survive the long sea voyage. Alongside them came shells, animals, and curiosities, the kind of cargo that turned an imperial garden like Schönbrunn into a living cabinet of wonder. And then Nikolaus did the hard part that made his work endure. He wrote it down. He named what he saw, measured petals and stamens, described leaf edges, sap, and scent. And he insisted that his records be beautiful. Nikolaus's illustrated books still feel vivid, not dusty, not remote, and not in black and white. His vibrant color choices land like they were painted yesterday. His books are portable gardens, pages you can open anywhere. There's Selectorum, Stirpium, Americanarum, Historia, a book where plants from the Americas are drawn in ink and pigment. There's Hortus Botanicus, Vindobonensis, a record of rare plants grown in Vienna. And there's Plantarum Rariorum Horti Caesari Schönbrunnensis, or a catalog of the exotic plants that flourished behind glass at Schönbrunn. And Nikolaus von Jacquin's name lives on, too, in the genus Jacquinia, which is a group of small evergreens that are valued for toughness and salt tolerance in warm coastal plains. But Nikolaus also left the garden a spicier legacy when he described the habanero pepper, Capsicum chinense. The name suggests it came from China, but habaneros didn't come from China at all. And that, too, is common in garden history. Beauty and error traveling together and still leaving us with something bright, living, and unforgettable. And it was on this day in 1848 that Hugo de Vries was born. Hugo's garden wasn't meant to impress anyone. It was meant to answer a question. When something new appears in nature, a new form, a new trait, does it arrive slowly or all at once? That question took root for Hugo after a chance observation. Near Hilversum, he noticed evening primroses, Lamarckiana, that didn't match the rest. Some were taller, some were shorter, some were shaped differently, as if they'd stepped sideways out of the usual pattern. He brought these plants home and began growing them deliberately. What followed looked like obsession from the outside, grown row after row, year after year. In all, Hugo grew tens of thousands of them, watching carefully for moments when inheritance seemed to change abruptly. A dwarf where none should be, a giant when no one expected it, a red-veined stem, a leaf shape arriving fully formed. He called these sudden changes mutations. Through his patient work, Hugo helped bring back something science had nearly misplaced: Gregor Mendel's idea that traits are passed along in discrete units, not blended, not vague, but trackable. Like Mendel before him, Hugo didn't arrive at his conclusions quickly. It took season after season, trial after trial, watching plants long enough to be sure. The breakthrough wasn't dramatic. It was persistence made visible. A man watching a plant, refusing to call difference a fluke, and giving the mystery a name. In today's Unearthed Words, we hear from David Austin, born on this day in 1926. David once wrote, "The perfume of roses becomes more than a fragrance. It is at once familiar and fleeting, a memory, a mood, a gentle companion to the day." Gardeners know how scent behaves. It doesn't stay put. It moves. It catches. And later, unexpectedly, it returns. It's time to grow that garden library with today's book, Secret Gardeners: Britain's Creatives Reveal Their Private Sanctuaries by Victoria Summerlee, with photography by Hugo Ritson-Thomas. This is a book of private gardens, not performances, not showplaces, places where very public people become private again. Sting and his wife Trudy, Jeremy Irons, Anish Kapoor, and Andrew Lloyd Webber, among many others. The gardens are restorative. They quiet the mind instead of amplifying it. If February has felt heavy, this is a book that lets the eyes wander through living, imaginative, anchoring spaces without leaving the couch. And finally, here's something sweet to ignite the little botanic spark in your heart. It was on this day in 1911 that Marie Clark Taylor was born. Marie believed students should study living material, not just diagrams. Plants on the table, light on the leaves, feeling the texture, hearing the crunch. Marie's research focused on photoperiodism, or the way plants use the length of the day and night as a signal for when to grow and when to flower. In simple terms, plants don't just respond to light, they respond to time. Marie worked with common garden plants, including scarlet sage, or Salvia splendens, garden cosmos, and orange cosmos, or Cosmos sulphureus. And what she showed us was beautifully practical. More light isn't always better. In fact, sometimes a shorter day creates better flowering. Marie helped make visible what gardeners learn by staying attentive, that timing matters, that attention matters, and that a common flower, given the right conditions, can change what we understand. As we close the show today, remember, every story today shares the same quiet strength. Nikolaus, Hugo, David, Marie. None of them rushed the garden. They stayed, they watched, they kept going. That persistence, more than talent, more than luck, is what gardeners grow best. So if you've had failures, or you think you have a brown thumb, congratulations. You're just like every other gardener whoever learned anything worth keeping. Thanks for listening to The Daily Gardener, and remember, for a happy, healthy life, garden every day.